So let's take a look at this Twitter beef. Hey guys, this is Julian of Julian Gray Media. I know I'm a little bit late on this topic, but a few weeks ago, Laidback Luke, the famous, I guess, house DJ, for lack of a better subgenre, made a post on Twitter that went pretty viral in the electronic music scene, and especially amongst producers. Basically, there's a flood of tweets here, all resulting from this original tweet, as you can see on the screen. Knowing how to sound design is a luxury, not a necessity. It's fun, but you'll always suck compared to the professionals that design presets as a living for you to readily use. So this has been a very controversial topic amongst many producers, as a lot of producers and genres base their entire music production and their own mastery or level of mastery on sound design. I think Laidback Luke has a lot of good points here, and there's a lot of good points on the other side as well. That's why this is so controversial, because it's a very subjective matter and it's very dependent on the genre you're writing. I think for genres like Laidback Luke doing EDM, big festival, progressive house, as people like to call it, even though it's not real progressive house, there is a lot of need for melodic elements and stuff like that. It's not as centered around sound design. The basis of a big festival tune like a Laidback Luke tune is the melody and composition and arrangement of the song itself, maybe even the drums, you can argue. Whereas in genres like drum and bass, neuro, even glitch or dubstep even, the sound design or bass music, as if I want to use an umbrella term, is a large piece of what makes a bass music producer a bass music producer. A sound developed by Noisia is completely different from a sound developed by, say, Excision or Skrillex. And I think that a lot of the people very angered by this were the bass music guys, because they think that sound design is a large thing for them. I do agree with Laidback Luke, though, that when you're starting as a producer, and I think that this tweet was taken way out of context, when you're starting as a producer, it's more important to get some other fundamentals down before you start to design your own sounds, even in the bass music scene. I think learning the arrangement, learning how to sequence drums, kind of learning the basics of syncopation and things like that are much more important than actually designing the sounds used. Although in a dubstep song or a rhythm song or a drum and bass song, largely the sound design is integral to making the song your own, as most of the songs are very, very similar in syncopation and in arrangement. Whereas in progressive house or something very festival-y, the sound design is almost all the same, and the melodic elements or the songwriting carry the song. But coming from a techno and progressive house background, like an actual progressive house, trance, that sort of sound, I can say that I value production and melodic elements more than I do sound design. There's an ongoing meme between a lot of my friends and I that saw waves are like the only sound I use, because generally most of my music is based around saw waves, FM saw waves, filtered saw waves, plucked saw waves, etc. Whereas a dubstep guy would never go near that with a 10-foot pole. They would be messing with formant filters and massive distortion on whatever it is they're using on top of an already very weird wavetable, if they're going for a wavetable synth like Massive or Serum. But I think it's largely a difference of opinion based on the genre between Laidback Luke and a lot of other producers. And I think this is way taken out of context. I personally agree with Luke that beginner producers should focus on other things other than sound design when they're starting. And that even applies to dubstep guys. I know it's very opposite of what dubstep's all about and what bass music in general is all about, being very sound design centered. But I think that if you can't write a cool progression, be it syncopation and not necessarily melodic content, but rhythmic content, and you apply it to a really cool sound, it's not going to sound good, regardless of if you develop the sound or if someone else developed the sound. But if you take an awesome syncopation or well-written arrangement and you apply it to a preset sound, you might get flack for it in the bass music community, because how important sound design is to a lot of the bass music guys. So it works in both ways, and there is downsides and upsides of doing it both ways when you're first starting out. I generally think that if you're starting out as a producer, you shouldn't be focusing too much on sound design, and that's just my personal opinion. Some guys will tell you to design all of your own sounds and learn all the arrangement stuff later on. Again, it's a very subjective matter, and I know that a lot of people do it different ways and learn in different ways, so I'm not going to say either way is right or wrong. I just wanted to chime in on my opinion on this and give you my thoughts on it. So what do you guys think of Laidback Luke's tweet? Do you think that sound design is more important than writing other things in the beginning stages of producing? Or do you think that you should focus on other things before learning to sound design and learn to sound design later on in the learning process? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe. I make 2 videos a week, and I am Julian of Julian Gray Media. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.
A drill.